Okay, so now there's an orange blur that the Department of Justice says was just a inmate possibly dropping off some clothes. I have not made an Epstein Trump update in a while. The information is coming in daily, fast and furious. Is the biggest political scandal since I don't know when. Is that impending? Is that about to happen? Are we going to have our whole faith in the whatever last shred of faith we have in the system totally destroyed? So for those of you that have not been keeping up with the daily new updates on the Trump Epstein situation, I'm going to try to give you a highlight reel of what has happened. So some months ago, Trump said his Justice Department was going to release all the documents. So they had a photo op where they had many right-wing influencers, journalists show up. They basically got empty binders that started to make people suspicious and upset. Now, since that time, there's Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General, made the statement on television, Epstein's list is on my desk. And then they said nothing. Then they issued the final statement, case closed, there's no list. All the tapes of Epstein are simply child porn of that Epstein had. There's no clients, there's no anything. You've had the strange situation where there's a lot of defenders of Epstein all of a sudden. People like Alan Dershowitz, a prominent attorney who appears as someone who visited Epstein's island many times. Now, I'm someone who knows that just because you visited his island, or like Epstein visited Bill Clinton 17 times at the White House, that in and of itself doesn't mean anything in particular. Very rich people get access to people in political power because they put up money. That's just the nature of our system right now. But what's very strange is what's been going on with with two things, with documents related to Trump and with the footage of Epstein's cell. So, we had the bombshell about a week ago that someone produced a letter that was that Ghislaine Maxwell, on Epstein's 50th birthday, went and got letters from all of Epstein's close friends, including Alan Dershowitz, who made a joke where he wrote a fake newspaper headline, I'm Alan Dershowitz and I'm worse than I'm Jeffrey Epstein and I'm worse than Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy killed women. So that's a weird joke. Now, this Epstein's 50th birthday was in 2003. This was about 3 years before he caught the case with the young girls down in Florida. But what did all these guys know about his behavior? That's a strange joke to make. And then Trump's letter, which he says is fake, but why would it be fake? This letter has been in the custody of the Department of Justice for years. At what time would it have been inserted as a fake document? And of course, he's famously trying to sue Wall Street Journal and its owner Rupert Murdoch for $10 billion. Trump throwing up all these smoke screens. We're going to indict Obama. All these things to try to keep your attention off of what's going on with him. And in this letter, he wrote, it's so bizarre, but happy 50th birthday to a great guy who we share a special secret with. Me and you share a secret, Jeffrey. We share an interest. Ha ha ha. And he writes in a third person where it says, Donald, what do you give the guy that has everything? Jeffrey. That's our secret. Donald, yes it is. We share that in common. So he keeps referencing some secret interest that him and Jeffrey have in this 50th birthday letter. He draws a picture of a woman, where her pubic hair would be. That's where he signs his name, Donald Trump. And a lot of these other suspected people, like Dershowitz, like I said, he wrote a joke letter about I'm Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm not Ted Bundy, joking about serial killers who killed women. Very, very strange. Now, the latest bizarro thing is that, if you remember, the only woman that there's been a few that came out, but the central woman that came out that we know about is, of course, Virginia Giuffre. That's the woman who got the settlement, who was the photos with Prince Andrew, that she did massages for Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew has been basically excommunicated from the royal family. Prince Andrew had Ghislaine Maxwell visiting him many, many times on the private grounds of the British royal family, aka Buckingham Palace, right? The biggest palace in the world. This Ghislaine Maxwell woman who serving 20 years for grooming girls for Jeffrey was visiting Buckingham Palace many times to see Prince Andrew, and the Virginia Giuffre girl is at the heart of, she claims that Ghislaine groomed her, that she had sex with Jeffrey, and that she gave him, well, she claimed she had sex with Prince Andrew. He denied it. She took an out-of-court settlement. Virginia Giuffre had been living in Australia with her husband. Her husband had been spending her settlement money and beating her up, supposedly, and she recently took herself out, just like Jeffrey Epstein. So Virginia Giuffre, the one woman we really know was at the center of things, she's taken herself out within the last 45 days. And then we have the French. So Donald Trump owned a modeling agency. Jeffrey Epstein, with some other people, owned a modeling agency, and this Luc Besson, I'm giving you this off the top of my head. I'm going to do a more thorough thing for you, but I just want to get you guys up to date. There was a French guy that also owned a modeling agency. He had charges come out similar to Jeffrey Epstein at right around the same time. He bumped himself off. So we have Virginia Giuffre, the girl at the center, one of them at the center of it. She's self-unalived. Epstein, self-unalived. This French guy, self-unalived. Now, I'm not an expert in the world of political intrigue and spies and stuff and dirty politics. I mean, I know something about it like anybody else. I do know a lot about crime and mafia and all that. And people that are very experienced at killing often get away with making. The Detroit Mafia, for example, is infamous for people they have problems with overdosing, shooting them, unaliving themselves. Like the guy whose house Jimmy Hoffa was probably X'd at, shot himself twice in the chest, and the gun was found across the room, but it was a self-unalive. Famously, we know that the family, or Jeffrey Epstein's brother, there's so much information in this. I'm going to have to do a more in-depth breakdown for you, but I just want to give you a highlight reel of this craziness. Epstein's brother paid for another autopsy. That autopsy guy, Dr. Michael Baden, was very well respected, said he's only, the trauma he saw to Epstein's neck is not associated with doing it to yourself. A week or so ago, when the Department of Justice released the so-called raw footage of Epstein's, well, it's this camera that's way in the distance where you can barely see the door of Epstein's cell. But of course, there was a missing minute. So at first they said, oh, well, every night they change the tapes at midnight, so there's always a missing minute. Sounds weird, but sounds like it could be possible. Anyone that's known of businesses or stuff, if you've ever had a security camera to save money, you just keep using the same tapes. Is it possible that happened, because remember, they're just keeping the tapes in case an incident occurs that day, and then they pull the tapes. They're not trying, if nothing happened that day, they record over it. There's no point in storing it. I'm back here in this area where people are doing stuff at. So, just lost my train of thought. These people got me thrown off here. What the hell are they about to do? About to get high. They fins to get high. Okay, so the Justice Department said, Wired Magazine and some other people looked at the metadata of this supposedly raw video, and it showed it had been edited by Adobe Premiere, which is an editing software. Whoever's doing this is very incompetent, because you don't have to be any type of forensic scientist. Like, literally someone just opened the file and right-clicked it and looked at the metadata properties. I mean, it tells you what program edited it. So the one file they released is supposedly the uncut footage of Epstein's cell for many hours to show no one went in it, was several clips spliced together that had a missing minute. So then now the missing minute was discovered, but does that mean Pam Biondi, the head of the Department of Justice, was lying, or was it just a mistake? Are these people incompetent, or are they lying? We know they're kind of incompetent. Are they also lying? And now some people looking at that tape have seen, or that footage, have seen an orange blur. What would that mean? Well, the inmates wear orange. These maximum security prisons, I'm sure, as you guys know, well, this is a federal lockup, from watching all these prison YouTube things, lots of stuff pops off in there. Right there in that New York one, there was just a riot like a month ago between, I think, the black, maybe like the Bloods and like the Spanish gang members. There was a bunch of people stabbed. Like, it was a big crazy riot. So if you were going to have somebody take out Epstein, it wouldn't be some guy that looked like a CIA agent or something coming there, right? You would have a person in an inmate's uniform. So if there was an orange blur that went in there, broke him up and left, that's very, very plausible. Jeffrey Epstein's brother has been saying that his brother told him he had dirt on people. Donald Trump is acting very, very strange. Michael Wolff, who was a journalist that was actually Epstein's biographer, that was working on a book with Epstein leading up to his death, said that Epstein fanned out some Polaroid photos. Oh yeah, they in there getting high, smoking that fentanyl, I bet you. This is an interesting, right here by the Soho House, but there's this weird abandoned, this is a pretty cool place to shoot at. We'll do some more shooting over here. Let's walk around here. So, what was I saying? Oh, okay. So Jeffrey Epstein's, so the journalist, Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff was working with Epstein on a biography. He said that Epstein fanned out some photos, some Polaroids of Donald Trump frolicking, now not nude, not having sex, not doing anything in and of itself inappropriate, but it was a group of girls, and they looked of borderline age. Not a crime, but weird, not good. Now, back to the modeling agency thing. Melania Trump got her green card. I mean, you have to be employed to get your green card and eventually citizenship or married. Her employment was as a model, and the modeling agency was connected with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Not connected with them, but they were friends of them. So Melania, not only was Trump someone who knew Epstein from the world of, and it's certainly plausible, they're both wealthy guys of a similar age that are in New York and South Florida. Why wouldn't they know each other? Okay. But Melania was in the circuit of the modeling agency of that Gazelle and Epstein friends ran. Some say Ghislaine introduced Melania to Trump. Now, the smoking gun could be, is Melania, is the president's wife, someone who was sort of trafficked, in a sense, to the president? I mean, I would always make the joke that Donald Trump was the first president we have who married a prostitute, but you know, that might not be that far off. And Trump just keeps talking, and you listen long enough, or if you just listen not long enough, you just listen, he keeps saying worse and worse stuff. So back to Virginia Giuffre, the woman in the photo with Prince Andrew. She worked at Mar-a-Lago at the spa, giving massages. And why did Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's friendship stop? Because even by Epstein, in a deposition, referred to Donald Trump as my best friend at one point. Trump admits they were very friendly, spent a lot of time together. Remember, Trump wrote Epstein that risque 50th birthday letter referencing secrets. She worked at Mar-a-Lago giving massages, and the reason they fell out is because Epstein was stealing people from Trump. Who were the people? Girls that worked at the spa, Virginia Giuffre specifically. So the girl, the one woman, I mean, I call her girl, and she's deceased, resting in peace. She took herself away from this world about a month ago. She took herself out a month ago in Australia. The woman at the center that really broke this whole thing open in 2019, the one in the photo with Prince Andrew, she worked for Donald Trump, giving massages legally in the spa at Mar-a-Lago till Epstein lured her away. Wow. Now, what the hell, if these are just rich guys? We know that Trump, he said grab her by the pussy. That didn't stop him from getting elected. He's convicted civilly of raping that woman E. Jean Carroll and has a multi-million-dollar judgment against him. That didn't stop America from re-electing him. He knows he misogynist things, talks totally disrespectfully about all women, about Kamala Harris, about Hillary Clinton. That didn't stop him from getting re-elected. So he knows that he can, if this is just run-of-the-mill disrespect of women, womenizing, I mean, Bill Clinton, I get why people didn't like Hillary. You know, she let her husband was getting filleted in the White House, putting a cigar in the girl, like low light, you know. So for Trump to be worried, it's got to be worse than all that. What the hell could it be? Trump is freaking out. Now, is the cover-up worse than the crime? Now, for those of you that aren't Trump people, that aren't, and you guys, I don't come after me. Like, I'm reporting on the facts of the case of what's going on. Kash Patel, Dan Bianco, the head of the FBI and a second in command, these are people that were kind of like podcasters that got themselves popular being part of the whole QAnon, and QAnon's big thing is that there was a secret cabal of PDF files in the government. So their popularity and why Trump even nominated them is because they're part of that mega base that was the QAnon wing. So that's why this Epstein thing won't go away. A lot of this, the idea that there's a secret PDF file ring or rings in the government is very important to a lot of, or a certain big chunk of the people that voted for Donald Trump. And for all of you that think that that's crazy, I will say this. unfortunately, several, I don't know what judging by how many children in America have those type of experiences, I don't know of what, 5% of adult men do things to children or something? I really don't. I don't know. But it's more than a handful of people. So whatever, any group of men are doing, they're all right. I mean, across all demographics, people do the same thing. Like there's drug addicts and men who like men that are poor, rich, black, white, in every demographic. There's going to be men who do things to children in every demographic. So I'm sure there are groups of men that do things with children that are rich and that are in the government. I mean, if only by law of averages. And I think it's a sad signal of how many Americans, and if you're one of them, my heart goes out to you, because I've had a hard life and a lot of trauma and a lot of bad experiences. None of them, I never was touched in that way. I was never beaten or like slapped around. No one in my family ever did anything bad physically. Well, I should have been disciplined more. I didn't get any discipline at all, but I've never been beat, and certainly didn't have those experiences. But I think so many people are really obsessed with the pedophile thing because it happened to so many people, which is gotta be the case why so many people are really obsessed with this, because they know that, a lot of that stuff does go on. The French model agency guy, my political stories do kind of so with you guys, but this is so important. I'm gonna dive into it heavy and really break it down for you. But I do want to give you a highlight reel if you haven't been keeping up, because so much has gone on. So the French guy was accused of doing things with young girls. He unalived himself. Remember, Donald Trump owns the Miss Universe and the Miss America, or I think he owns Miss Universe or something else. Donald Trump purchased beauty pageants, and the rest of these guys bought. So that's a thing. One of the reasons why men want to be rich, access to women. How can you get access to an unending supply of hot young new girls every year without seeming awkward and creepy? Well, if you're the guy that owns the modeling agency or the beauty pageant. I always did find that, when Donald Trump was going bankrupt and he was down in the doldrums of business, that's when he bought, I think, the Miss America or Miss Universe brand, whatever he has. So what do you guys think? Do you think where there's smoke, there's fire? I think if it was only that Trump was getting the massages, or that he even was fucking a bunch of 20-year-olds, I don't think he'd be that worried, because he's gotten... that's not illegal, for one thing. And I think he's shown that, for whatever reason, there's a lot of Americans that accept... It used to be that a politician's behavior was supposed to be above reproach. That day has passed, and maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I personally think the Catholic Church scandal really broke a lot of people's faith in the social structures. Let me ask you, just all of you this. Is there any social, bureaucratic structure that you trust? It ain't politics. It ain't the Catholic Church. Those southern churches with all those white mega pastor guys, and then the black pastors all seem gay. Like, all the church stuff seems compromised. Whether they're conning you out of money, they're secretly gay, they're putting their hands down Jimmy's pants in the Catholic Church and is being covered up in a white... that Catholic Church thing was so bad. It's one of the worst. It's so bad it went on over the whole world, and they covered it up. Someone tells me they go to... I don't get on my soapbox with people, but I get it. If you were born Catholic, you may go to Catholic Church here and there just out of force of habit. But anyone I've ever bumped into that told me, oh no, I'm Catholic and I'm into that, I've been like, how can you be part of this any longer? And they, don't really have an answer other than faith, which, whatever. But I do give people a hard time. Sports is compromised, right? We all know everyone's on steroids because there's so much money to be made. Why wouldn't you be in a world where a lot of Americans use different drugs to some degree here and there? Everyone's supposed to get all worked up about, oh, someone got caught with some marijuana and he's suspended from the team. We all know we're living in a land of lies. But I mean, up till now there has been, or there still is, a kind of the last demarcation line is stuff with kids. But I'll tell you something. I mean, obviously, doing something with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, no one has to say that's super duper horrible. But where is the line? Because it's all about power and manipulation and being a sick person that wants to control others. I mean, I'm a wild guy, and I was, I'm not Mr. Prude or anything like that, but when I'm around 18, 21-year-old girls, now listen, some of them are faster than others. I ain't saying I wouldn't do anything with any one of them ever, but I generally they don't even seem sexualized to me because they just seem so young. They're much more like a child, whatever they may look like when they're talking. I've even gotten to the point, girls that don't, even grown women that have like dull personalities or they're kind of dumb, like I'm just not, if I don't care if you're 35, if talking to you was like talking to a 12-year-old, I don't want to have sex with a child or someone. I don't like girls that talk in the baby voice and call you dad. Like, I'm not into that. All of that shit is weird. I guess, if you're one of the vast majority of men that never gets any positive attention from women, maybe you have a lot of bitterness. I don't know, but I might be living in a pretty totally deviant, or a society with a lot of deviant people and a lot of predatory things going on. I don't like predators more than anything. Like, would I date a 21-year-old? If she was in college and probably was from a family like where she was a little affluent and had done a lot of stuff and was kind of sophisticated, a girl that's low, that's poverty stricken and is, could definitely use a couple $100, like for food or something that they need to fix her little raggedy car, I probably would just give her $200-300 before I would, even want to have sex with her in exchange for it. I don't like too much of a power dynamic. I like somewhat of a little bit of a, we don't got to be equal, but like, I don't want to feel like I'm an adult and you're a child. But back to the topic of Trump. So him saying that Virginia, this is out of Trump's mouth, the woman at the center of all this who has croaked herself, Virginia Giuffre, worked in Mar-a-Lago. Epstein stole her, Trump's words, stole her. Sound like some pimp slave shit. And that's why they fell out. And Trump is worried. Something bad. This is going to break our final faith in any system. A lot of these MAGA people, I'll give it to them. A lot of them are, some are still blindly holding on, but a lot of people are getting pretty upset and want some answers. So anybody that's watching this, if you're a Trump supporter, what do you feel about this? Is this a non-story? Is this a real story? what's going to happen? What are your guys' predictions? How's this going to play out? Is Trump going to make it through the end of this year? I think there's a high chance something pretty. I don't think Trump. I don't think Trump and 14-year-olds or anything. I think he was, even if he had those type of interests, I think he's a much more careful person. You don't get as far as he has in life. He was trained by the shady lawyer Rory Cohn. I don't think you get this far in life not being a careful person. But could he have made a mistake one night? Could he have slipped up? I mean, if there's even a bunch of photos with him and a bunch of 18-year-olds, doesn't probably look good for his presidency. What do you guys think might happen? I think there's a substantial chance he steps down and you let this young vice president, J.D. Vance, move in to the presidency. Trump seems to be mentally deteriorating. This story's not going to go away, just like Biden. And I'm somebody, the Democrats really disrespected the country and did something bad. Biden did a good job his first term. He shouldn't have ran the second term. I'm not here to debate all that, but the I get why Donald Trump won. The Democrats did a totally inappropriate thing with Biden, his son, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's such a dope fiend. He didn't just buy. He knew how to cook his own crack. Did you know that? Hunter Biden, like a rapper, could cook his own cocaine into crack. And his father was sending him to handle national business. So I get it. I'm not one of those people that thinks everyone else was just so great and Trump is just such an abomination. I don't like him at all, but he's only, to me, just a worse version of the other people. It's just he has no good traits, at least, well. And I get why someone wouldn't like Hillary Clinton. She let her husband cheat on her, get filleted in the Oval Office, and stayed with him because she thought she was going to get her turn at the presidency. So I get it. Kamala Harris, I don't get disrespecting her, but I get it. Where did she come from? Why should she be the president? I can understand people's point of view for voting for Trump. I don't like him, but I get it. I don't think you're stupid or crazy necessarily if you voted for him because the other options had a lot of negatives. But what is going to happen with this situation? It sure seems like Trump is worried, and if it was just run-of-the-mill misogyny, cheating on his wife, he's already done that a bunch of times in public, and it didn't stop. But if it comes out Melania was some type of massage, like he married a massage whore, and there's compromised photos of him with girls that are borderline age, what's your guys' prediction? I'm curious as to what my viewers have to say. And would you like for me to invest some serious time and to give a less rambling and real precise breakdown of all the pieces? Because I'm only going to invest the time if you want to see it. If you want me to invest some time, please leave a comment that says yes, invest. Just write the word invest as a comment. And so that's off the head. I mean, I've been reading a lot of articles, not off the head, and I've been keeping up every day. But, and then, of course, the latest thing of was there an orange blur that went into Epstein's cell? If obviously, if someone cracked his neck at the behest of someone in the government, I mean, what are we going to do? What if that comes out? What are we going to do? That could destabilize the government. Listen, you guys, if you care about America, if Trump is going to go out bad and he doesn't want to give up the ghost, we may have to exercise our rights to free assembly and to and get out there in the street and make sure that a peaceful succession is followed. Trump may not want to give up the ghost, especially if he committed Epstein-esque crimes. So I think this saga is just getting started, and there's going to be some bad stuff that comes out. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, and remember to type a comment that says invest if you want me to invest some serious time in this. And remember to subscribe. We need to get our profit to 1 million. Support me in the lifestyle to which I've grown accustomed, and to see me do more fly things and start getting my beard dyed, not just my hair. Our profit, Donald Trump Epstein scandal. What's next?